So it's new case day, and with that we have a brand new case to look at. It is a case that we've never looked at before on the channel, and it comes from a brand that we've never had before, Okinos. I'm pretty sure I just butchered that name, so I do apologise if I did, but they sent this case across. It is the Aqua 9, and it's been a long time since we've actually taken a look at a deep dive into a case. So I thought what we'd do today is we would take a look at its features, see what it has to offer, and then we'll drop a build in it and see how easy it is to build into. So the Okinos Aqua 9 is a mid-tower case with this beautiful panoramic kind of glass paneling around. The panel in itself does have a black border all the way around the edge, and it goes all the way around the front too, but they did miss it out in the front here, so you get a seamless kind of join between the two glass panels. It's very easy to actually take apart. It's toolless, so you don't really need much at all. All you need to do is just pull the glass panel forward, pops out of a couple of clips, and then lift the panel out. That panel is pretty thick, so it's not going to go anywhere, and hopefully you don't break it when you do this, but it's a very nice panel. It's about 3 or 4 millimeters thick in terms of tempered glass, so it's not going to break. And of course the front one also comes out. Very similar mechanism. You just pop the top forward and then lift it out. That actually makes the case extremely accessible, and it does actually kind of expose how well built this case really is, because even with the glass panels removed, it's a pretty solid case. It has some exceptionally good features as well, which I'll go into a little bit more detail later on. But for the price of this thing, I bet it's actually going to be a pretty decent buy. It is, like I say, a mid-tower case, so we can fit anything like a full ATX motherboard in here, or a micro ATX, or an ITX. Probably wouldn't go to an ITX board because it looks a little bit silly in that. But like I say, it is very toolless, and some of the design factors on this are pretty actually cool. We have the front I/O on the front here, so it is actually on the side, and we've got a USB-C, 2 USB 3s, a combined audio jack. We have a switch here for, I think that's a reset switch, and then we've got a power switch as well. So it's got everything you need in terms of a front panel, even though it is on the side, but that actually makes it a little bit better for people that have their PCs on their desk, because obviously if your PC's on the side here, you're going to have access to your buttons here, not on the top. So that's actually a pretty good design. It comes with RGB strips in here too. There is a nice little RGB strip here, and particularly with the basement design, I really like this. It is ventilated, and your power supply is obviously going to be hidden here, but it does come with this nice little angle down, and then it comes with this little compartment on the front here, which we'll go into a little bit more detail later on when we come to look at the cooling solutions and that, because that's a little bit unique to this case. If we just flip the case around a little bit, we can see that the back panel is pretty standard. We've got all our PCI Express ports here. We've got our I/O shield, which is kind of embedded a little bit, so it's not completely flush with the back of the system. You will have a little gap here, which I do like that. I like it when they actually build them inside. And then we have the power supply slot here, which is on an actual removable bracket, very similar to like the Fractal design cases. I really like this feature because it does mean that the case kind of really gives that premium look and feel, and you can install your power supply pretty easily as well. The rear panel itself does come off exactly the same as the front glass panels. You just basically clip it on from the top and then lift it out. And then as you can see, it's a pretty strong panel. There's not a lot of flex in it, as well as having a nice kind of ventilated panel at the front there, which again will become important when we start looking at the cooling solutions it offers. In the back though, it's a very clean design, I will admit. We have a nice panel here which you can remove with screws, where you will mount your kind of 2.5 SSDs or your 3.5 hard drives. Plenty of space there, and they will mount on the inside. And then you've got a good inch and a bit gap between the actual motherboard backplate and the back panel, so there's plenty of space to be putting in your cable management and stuff like that. They also include a built-in hub here where all the fans that are pre-installed into this, and again we'll go into detail on them, are all pre-hooked up, so you don't really need to do a lot. All you need to do is just hook this up, and hopefully everything works perfectly fine. On the side here too, this is the back plate where we will add additional cooling, and we just flip it back around again. We'll just take a quick look at the top. As you can see, it does come with a mesh panel here, which you can remove if you are using that as an exhaust. And again, we've got mounts here for fans and radiators and things like that. When it comes to cooling options, there are plenty inside this case. We can fit one 120mm fan in the bottom here, and it has this nice little ducting here, which is also removable. You will need to unscrew the fan from underneath, and then just unscrew the little thumb screw at the side there, and you can actually lift that whole plate out. That is actually designed to direct air over the top and to your graphics card, so it will not keep your graphics card nice and cool instead of just blowing straight up. We can also fit one 120mm fan in the back, up to 3 120mm fans in the top, or a 360mm radiator, as well as two 140mm or a 280mm radiator, so there's plenty of space in the top. And then of course you've got the back panel here where you can fit up to a 360mm radiator or three 120mm fans. Now they have included some fans in this. It comes pre-installed with some fans and they're pretty funky, to be honest. The four fans at the front, so the ones in the back plate and the bottom, are reverse bladed. They are 4-pin PWM with a standard connection, as well as 3-pin ARGB with a standard connection. And because they're reverse bladed, you're not going to have to turn around and look at those nasty back of the frames. You can actually use these. They will draw air in, and you will be able to see the RGB lighting in the front of the fans. That's a pretty cool feature, and usually those things are pretty expensive too, so you're probably going to get a bit of a bargain with this case. And then the rear fan that they do also pre-install is also a 120mm ARGB fan with standard connections, all hooked up to that little hub in the back. But that is a normal flow fan, so it will actually draw air out again. So they've actually thought about the cooling in this system and provided some pretty decent options already, so you shouldn't really need to add anything to it unless you want to put some extra cooling in the top there. But apart from that, it's going to give you plenty of airflow straight away. When it comes to clearances with this case, it's also got some pretty decent options. For the CPU, you have a max CPU cooler height of 170mm. You have a max GPU length of 420mm, which means pretty much any cooler is going to fit inside this case, as well as any graphics cards, or your 5090s, your 4090s are going to fit perfectly fine in here. And of course, with the additional fan at the bottom, they're going to get some extra airflow, while you're still going to appreciate the full glass panoramic front and side. And then for the power supply, it does have a max length of 220mm. Now, that's probably not as much as some of the cases out there, because of course your basement here will stop where the fan is, so you're going to have a little bit of space in there to put all your cable management and stuff, but apart from that, it's going to look pretty cool. You do get everything you need to be able to build a PC with this. There is an accessories box in the back there, which we will need to remove by removing that panel on the back, but overall, the case is really good quality, and I suppose what we need to do now is actually just drop a bit of a build in it, see how easy it is, and see what kind of nuances we can find. Now, removing the back plate, we can get a better understanding of what kind of space we've got in here. This back plate is actually connected with 4 screws. Once you undo them, you just need to lift it up and hold it out. The accessory box is actually mounted to that back plate, and we'll have a look in the accessories box in a minute. But generally, where your cable management's going to go is there's a nice little channel down the front here where they've kind of pre-installed the wires already with nice little Velcro straps, so you don't need to buy any more of them, or cable ties. It should actually hook up all fine. We've also got the connections over here for the hub that they've included. It comes with a SATA connection, so we can power all those fans and the RGB, as well as another RGB connection, which will be used to plug onto your motherboard if you want to override all of that stuff. But for us, I don't think we're going to be doing that today. We're going to go with something pretty basic and simple. Just open up the accessory box and we'll see what they actually include. So they don't include any kind of like little plastic tray for your screws, or it doesn't feel like they do. Usually they just throw them in the cases. But today we've got a cardboard box of stuff. If we just empty the box out, it's very basic, really. We do have an instruction manual inside the box, so use that if you need to. I'm pretty sure the case is pretty straightforward and you won't need to, but it does explain what the front I/O does, how to connect things up, what kind of tolerances and space you have in the case for different kinds of radiators and things like that. So it's all explained inside the manual. And then for the bag of accessories, we get a few little extra clips for the front panels. They actually give you some spares for the actual bobble clicks that actually go in. That's pretty cool, because if they do break, you're gonna actually lose a panel on the system, so including those is actually pretty cool. And then there's all the screws and things that we actually need to be able to get this system up and running. So when it comes to building inside this case, we're going to go with something very basic today. We're going to be using an AM4 platform. Reasonably old now, I suppose, but lots of people still use them, and I've just gone with something simple, and here's one that I've built earlier. This is our Asus ROG Strix B450 motherboard. Again, like I say, it's pretty basic. We've loaded up the RAM slots, we've dropped on a standard AMD cooler. We're going to go for full RGB here, and we've also installed an RGB NVMe because the fans in this case are ARGB, so we're going to get some pretty decent lighting on there, and I thought we'd just max out the lighting of the system. So that's actually going to be dropped into the case. Very easy to do once you've actually took the panels out. We just flip the case over, and then all we need to do is just drop the motherboard down, line it up into the system. It does come with the mounts for the motherboard, all pre-installed for an ATX motherboard, so there's not really a lot you have to do there. And then, of course, we need to just screw it down with the screws that they provide. That's a very simple process there. We've not really done anything at all. It's just really nice that you can take all those panels out, and it means that you're not going to get any trouble with trying to squeeze things in or anything like you just saw there. I haven't actually touched this case at all. Everything that they've actually put in there, the wiring and stuff like that, is standard out of the box. So far everything is going pretty well. Now with the motherboard installed, I like to fit the power supply next because I like to get those big chunky cables in, and we just remove this little panel here. The power supply that we're using is our trusty EVGA 750 watt gold modular power supply. I've already loaded up the cables and everything, and all you need to do is just kind of fit this panel to it. It will actually go that way round, so you just need your power supply screws, which they do provide again with the case. You don't necessarily need to use the ones with the power supply if you don't have them anymore. Just screw this panel on. Just takes the standard 4 screws for a power supply, and then just like the cases where you do have these brackets, you need to just put the cables through, slide your power supply in as far as it will go. This is where it gets a little bit tight with cabling because of the length of the basement in the case, and then you just basically screw these screws in once it's lined up, and your power supply is pretty much good to go. Now of course, when it comes to cable management, it's probably one of the hardest jobs to do on a PC, so what we need to do is undo all of the Velcro tabs that they've got here. I don't want them to fall out. Take a look at the cabling that we've got. I tend to, when building, put the big cables in first and then reroute all the little cables, things for the front IO and stuff like that, around later. With the IO cables not actually coming from the top down, they do come from the bottom here and upwards, so most of these cables will actually be mounted and fit at the bottom of the motherboard. There are some that are going into the tops there because it is things like the reset switches connected to the hub and stuff like that to change lighting, so we will need to sort these cables out a little bit. They seem to be a little bit tied up at the moment, so we'll just drop them down through there, put this one back up through there. It is a little bit awkward because I've actually put some of the cables together here, which is actually meaning that they're stretching a little bit, but you can split the cables because obviously they're different stranded. This one here in particular, this is the front IO cable, but if you look halfway down, it does split off to go to the hub. So they've installed the hub at the top, then they've kind of split the cabling off here. So this stuff will need to go under the motherboard and into the front IO. These ones will also need to go onto the motherboard. So I think the USB 3 is going to go back up again. We don't have USB-C on this motherboard, so we're not going to be connecting that one. We've got our HD cable, which will run across there to there. But first, I like to get the big cables in. The first one that we'll do is the 24 pin. So I want to make sure that I'm not crossing over any wires. That's going to go up here and through the front and just plug straight into the motherboard. Seems very simple so far because there's really so much space to work with on this. You can just basically turn the case sideways, feed your cable through while you're looking at it sideways, and then just keep plugging things in. So I'm going to keep plugging in all of those big wires, and then we'll sort out the little ones, and we'll see then what else needs to be installed. I don't think there's much else after that, to be honest, just a graphics card. So let's get that done. Now all of the cables apart from the graphics card are installed, and I will be honest, this is probably one of the easiest cases I've ever had to use when it comes to cable management. The pre-installed cables that they've got for all of the current fans that are in the system, they've actually already kind of cable managed all them, so there's not a lot to do. There's a little bit of a spider's web up there where all the connections actually go into that hub, but apart from that, everything was already run down. And then when we run the large cables through, it's the first time that I've ever actually been able to do this, where I can run the EPS cable down the center too, and everything looks nice and tidy. I could do a slight better job on actually tidying up the cables inside there, but to be honest, there's so much space behind here now, and I haven't had to run anything down the back here or across, that it's one of the cleanest cable management jobs that I've ever done. So that is a big tick for Okinos for actually providing a case where everything just seems to fit and work perfectly fine. It's really nice that they included these Velcro straps into this case, so I've not had to use any kind of cable ties or nothing, and I will admit I think that is a pretty clean job. So we do need to reinstall the little back plate back on, and I think once we've done this, it's going to look even cleaner again, because this is going to hide some of that spider webby mess at the top there, or at least take your eye away from it a little bit. I mean, seriously, look how clean that actually looks now with that panel in. It looks amazing. So like I said before, the only cables that I haven't actually managed into the system yet are the VGA cables, and that's because I'm not exactly sure of the full length in the front yet. So I have got them fully extended out the front here, and they do come through one of the nice little holes there. When it did come to that cable management, there's so many holes around the motherboard that also get hidden that you can actually pull every cable through. The power supply has a nice little gap between it and this ventilation here, so you can easily pull cables through without even removing the power supply. That is a dream, because I've used builds in the past where you fit the power supply, you put all the big cables in, you come to put that front HD audio cable in, and then you just simply can't get it through. Not with this case, it worked great as it was. So installing the graphics card is going to be pretty simple, to be honest. The card that we're going to be using is also an Asus ROG Strix. This is the RX 6700 XT. It's just the largest graphics card that I've got, and it's got loads of RGB on it. So going with a full RGB, throw all the colors at us kind of build here, it kind of made sense. For installing the graphics card, you will need to remove the panels at the back. Another nice little premium feature of a case really is that they do have these removable panels. So they are on screws, they're not on thumb screws, but that's fine. They work perfectly fine. You can always replace them with thumb screws if you want to go super fancy, but it just means that you haven't got those little pull out tabs on the back, which you tend to get with budget cases, but things seem to be getting better as we go along in time. I think it's these two that we do need to remove, because there appears to be an actual PCI slot at the top above the 16 times. But basically we'll just remove these two little panels here. We'll need to keep the screws, of course, to reinstall the graphics card with. Keep your little panels safe if you ever do this, because if you ever come to move things around or you want to sell a case or something like that, it's always better to have those panels. But in theory, all we need to do now is take the graphics card, which is reasonably heavy as well, I will admit it's not a light graphics card, line it up with that PCI Express slot and the back, drop it into place, and that's literally as easy as it is. We will put the screws back into it because this graphics card is exceptionally large and I don't want it to go anywhere. It does suffer a little bit from GPU sag, and unfortunately there's no real anti-sag brackets in this case at all, so you will need to install your own if you are going to be doing this, but that's okay. You've got plenty of space under here for one of those little arms that will come up just to lift your graphics card up a little bit. It's not too bad in this case, I will admit. It's nice and strong in there. There's no flex on the back plate, so they've actually done a pretty good job of that as well. Hooking up the graphics card, this one takes two 8-pins, so we will need our 8-pin connections here, and typically with AMD graphics cards they kind of flip around this way. We'll pop that one into there, move this one around, pop this one into the front or into the back, it depends which way you're looking at the graphics card, I suppose. Just have to put these little connections together, pop that one in there, and then what we'll do is we'll pull the cabling back from the back just so we can get it. It's a little bit awkward now because I can't see the back, but I want to just push that cabling down, draw these cables through to where it looks like a nice little length, and then we can always put a nice little Velcro tab or something around the cables if we need to. I don't think we will need to with this case. That actually looks nice and clean, and then we'll just tuck the cables into the back. And there we go, a full system built into the Okinos Aqua 9. I'm actually super impressed with this case because the build time on this entire system, even though, okay, I did build the motherboard up before, was less than half an hour. Getting everything into this case, plus that amazing cable management, took less than half an hour to be able to put everything together. So I think they've done a great job. All we need to do now is, of course, add on the front glass panel, which is very simple to do. So all we need to do is just drop it into place on the front. It will just slot into two little slots, click it on at the front, and there we go. We've got the system pretty much good to go apart from the front glass panel. But before we do that, we're going to try and turn it on. There we go. I'm looking at the top for the switches, but of course they're down the front here. Hit the switch and everything should light up. I do believe that the fans at the moment are on a white setting with this lovely RGB kind of strip here. It's also on white, but the reset switch is connected to that hub in the back, so we should be able to change our colors. We'll get to our rainbow at some point, so we've got a nice little rainbow setting going on there, I think, and everything looks absolutely fantastic. I want to thank Okinos for sending this case across. It's actually been an amazing thing to build into. I'm really impressed with the quality of the case. I'm really impressed with its features, and it looks absolutely fantastic. I'm definitely going to find a use for this case because it has impressed me so much. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this case and the build that we've put together. We're not going to do any kind of benchmarks on it or anything like that. It wasn't for that. It's just basically a build or full build experience into this case, and I think it's gone extremely well. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content. We're going to be looking at more cases going forward, and we're going to be putting some awesome builds into them. And I'm sure, as always, catch you guys in the next one.